Very good evening, everyone. This is Rajendran here, joining from Market Calls, and welcome everyone to webinar on Amibroker. Particularly designing intraday trading system using Amibroker. That is what we're going to learn in today's session. So a little bit about me. My name is Rajendran. I've been trading this market since 2006 onwards, and most of my experience is in designing trading systems and recently building trading algo trading platforms. And today's session, we're going to discuss about primarily on building a simple intraday trading system with target stop loss kind of control. Purely an intraday trading system is what we're going to design in today's session. So let me pull up my Amibroker tool here. So I'm going to pull up my Amibroker software. So here is my Amibroker. I'm going to go to File, New Formula. So I'm going to start with my section begin and section end. So of course, if you are very new to Amibroker, right, the section begin and section end is the one which is, it's not a mandatory thing, but it's a good coding practice to implement section begin and section end. So where we're going to say what kind of trading system that we're going to build. So let's say I'm going to build a simple down-chain channel-based intraday trading system with stop-loss controls. So I'm going to say down-chain channel trading system with intraday controls. So what are the controls that we're going to build? So probably we're going to build some simple stop loss, targets, and we also going to plot those stop loss target levels as well. And we're also going to give a control to the user. So a couple of input controls we're going to give to the user. So first of all, let's try to understand what are the things that we're going to define here. So we're going to set the position size, first of all. For backtesting purpose, mostly we're going to do this, backtesting purpose. And then we're going to build some input controls. So strategy input controls. So it could be like parameter controls to adjust the downchain channel. It could be some intraday control to adjust the start time, end time of the intraday strategy. Or maybe it could be like some sort of a risk management control. So the controls, list of controls that we're going to add over here is like, we're going to add strategy parameters, which is nothing but the downchain channel length. And then we're also going to have an input controls like time-based intraday controls, time-based intraday controls. So when to square off the positions, when to start the trades, when to exit the trades. And along with that, risk management controls. So risk management. So something like a simple stop loss and target. Stop loss and the target. That is what we're going to build in this particular part. So followed by that, we're going to build the indicator. So we're going to build the indicator, and we're also going to plot the indicator, downchain channel mostly. And along with that, we are also going to build the risk management controls. So build risk management controls. So it's going to be a slightly an elaborated one. Maybe the session, it could have been taking somewhere around like 1 hour or maybe 1 hour, 15 minutes. Somehow that is the estimated duration here. Along with that, along with the risk management, right, we are also going to build something like probably trading signals. We're going to look into that. We're going to limit the number of signals per day. I also want to limit the number of signals per day. Limit the number of signals per day. And let's say like if at all I require, I also want to remove excessive signals. If it is some large amount of excessive signals is building, so remove excessive signals. And followed by that, we are also going to build a very simple, maybe we can say like, what else we can build? Maybe like finally plotting the trading signals. Plotting the trading signals. And along with that, plot the candlestick charts. Plot the candlestick charts. So it's going to be a very comprehensive list of stuff that we're going to build in today's session. Let's see. Let's start one by one. So talking about set position size, right? The most important thing here is the position size. So this is mostly for the backtesting purpose. There is a function called set position size. set position size, which will tell Amibroker backtesting how much to bet in any given trade. So here I can say like I want to purchase 50 shares every time. I can say like simply 50, SPS shares. So basically this will guide me. I'm telling Amibroker, hey, in every trade, whenever there's a signal, buy signal or a short signal, you go and purchase 50 shares. And every time there is the opposite signal is coming, you will try to close the open position. That is what we are instructing to backtesting purpose. So this is purely for a backtesting purpose, not for live trading. This will not be taken care at all, right? And strategy input controls, a lot of strategy input controls that we're going to build. So in Amibroker, there are a lot of param functions are there. So anything that you are seeing in blue color is more of a param function. So I'm going to first get an length of the channel. The length of the channel is going to be, I'm going to use a param function to that. So basically, this will give us a control to the user so that the user can control, they can change the values without coming and changing the things in the program, right? So param, I'm going to say like by default, the length I'm going to give like 15. The length of the channel is going to be, default value is 15. And then the minimum value, it's asking me to fill the minimum value. I'm going to give like 1. Maximum value, I'm going to give like 100. The step size, I'm going to give like 1. So that I'll be able to change within 1 step interval, I'll be able to change the values. So that is the length. So followed by that, I'm also going to add intraday trading controls also. So I'm going to say like intraday trading controls. So intraday trading controls could be like a start time, end time, start time. Then we're going to have end time. And then I'm also going to have like square of time, SQ of time. Followed by that, I'm going to say like limiting the number of signals per day. So number of signals per day. So, right. So these are the variables that I'm going to give a control. I'm going to allocate the control over here. I'm going to allocate the control using a param function. So for controlling the time, we have a function called param time. Param time. And I'm going to say like signal start time. Signal start time. So the default signal start time, I'm going to give like 9:30. So 9:30. So this is the time format which we have to give. If in case, if you are not sure, maybe if you are a beginner in Amibroker, what you can do is like place your cursor on top of param time and press function F1 key. Automatically, it opens up the AFL reference so that you can go back and study the information and you can check for certain examples. Maybe if the example says like, so how you can pass the values and what are the parameters, what value returns. It gives some brief information about the function. What is the importance of the function? All those things you'll be able to understand over here, right? So maybe if you're not a beginner, you can directly start coding with that. But if you're a beginner in Amibroker AFL, maybe this kind of place your cursor and press a function F1. That will definitely help you implementing or learning Amibroker AFL coding pretty much faster, right? So, all right, so let's try to build other controls as well. Likewise, I'm going to build time controls for end time as well. So the end time control, I'm going to keep it like 14:30. So any signal which is coming before 9:30, I want to ignore it. Any signal which is happening after 2:30 p.m., which is like 14:30, that's a railway time here, which I want to ignore it. So only I want to trade only between 9:30 to 14:30. But any signal which is going beyond 14:30, if any open trades are running beyond 14:30, I want to square off at around 3:15 p.m. or maybe 15:15, right? So I'm going to square it off at like 15:15 is what I want to square it off. This is going to be like square of time. So I'm going to say like square of time. Then I also want to limit the number of signals which is getting generated. I'm going to say like a param. By default, I'm going to say like maybe allow only 3 signals per day. Limit number of signals per day. So I'm going to say like by default, I'm going to give like 3. So these are just simply and variables only. So we cannot directly control it unless we write the controls. 10 and then 1. The step interval is going to be 1. Minimum value of number of signals is like 1. Maximum of number of signals is like 10. And the step interval is 1 over here. Okay, up to this point we had built, right? So let's try to build some more things. Let's try to build an indicator over here. There are more controls we also have to have, like something like a risk management controls. Risk management controls. Right. So talking about the risk management controls, I'm going to say like one is like I'm going to use something called tick size. So it's like tick size is equal to, I'm going to have a param control for the tick size. Tick size over here. So, right, most of the Indian instruments will have a basic tick size of 0.05, like Nifty, Bank Nifty, Reliance, Infosys. So those kind of stocks. Maybe for crude oil, it could be different. Maybe if you are trading Euro USD, it could be different. Maybe if you are trading gold, silver, copper, crude, the tick size will be changing from instrument to instrument. So since most of the users here are from Indian markets, I'm going to keep the tick size, the basic tick size is 0.05, but you can still change it. The bare minimum tick size, you can keep it as low as like 0.0025. Maybe if you're going for Bitcoin and all, the tick size will be like 0.000, like 8 digits. It will be keep going at the decimal level. So the maximum one is going to be 1 and the step size or maybe 5, because some cases like silver and all, when it comes to Indian market, is like 5 points. That is a basic tick size. And the step interval, I'm going to keep it like an 0.0025. So it depends upon which market that you are trading, you have to adjust this. So why we are using the stick size is like sometimes I may have to round it off to the nearest number, right? Because when I'm creating a target or a stop loss, percentage based stop loss or percentage based target, it may not be exactly rounded off to the nearest tick size. For example, let's say something like if any stock in Indian market, let's say like 100.001, we cannot trade that price levels. 100.01 also not tradable because the tick size is 0.05. So it should be a multiple of 0.05 only, right? So to adjust to the nearest tick size, I'm setting the tick size over here. This could be useful when you are playing with automated trading because you have to send the right price, particularly if you're sending any limit orders or target orders. In that case, you have to round it off to the nearest tick size. That will be very, very important over here. And I'm also going to have a control called risk control. So it's a control where I'm saying whether I want to use risk management or I don't want to use risk management at all. So I'm going to say like param toggle. So param toggle is the one which will act like a switch, either on or off. If it is on, then it will send a value 1. If it is off, it will send a value 0. So it's going to act like a switch over here. And then I'm going to say like enable stop loss and target. That is what we're going to implement over here. So followed by that, I'm going to say like enable or disable. Enable or disable, like a switch it is, right? So the switch will have the value like enable or disable. If I press the value enable, then the value 1 will be passed on. Otherwise, the value 0 will be passed on over here. So that's a risk management control. And we're also going to have a different types of stop loss. So some of the stop loss that we're going to have is like fixed stop loss, percentage based stop loss, volatility based stop loss. So 3 different type of stop loss is what we're going to bring. So I need to accommodate more than 2 symbols. So I mean 3 variants of stop loss. So in that case, I have to create something called list. So param list. So param list is a function which will be giving you multiple options, so that user can select what kind of stop loss they want. So I'm going to say like stop loss or target mode. It's a label. So whenever it's a name, I have to put it inside a double quotation. So stop or target mode. Right. So followed by that, I'm going to give like whether you want to implement points or maybe percentage, a pipe symbol, which will differentiate the different options. So what kind of option that you want to select, percentage and probably volatility. Okay. And by default, I'm going to select 0. 0 means this is 0, this is 1, and this is the second option. So by default, when it is loading, I want to use the point-based stop loss is what I want to implement over here. So the mode we had implemented, and followed by that, we're also going to implement the stop loss and target control also. I'm going to say like stops equal to, it's going to be a simple param function only. So param. So since by default, the stop loss is going to be in point mode, I'm going to give like 50 points stop loss, 100 points target is what I'm going to give. Comma. So followed by that, I'm going to say like default stop loss is 50. Bare minimum stop loss is like maybe 0.01. Biggest stop loss is going to be like 1000. Because some stocks, like it could be trading a little bit bigger. So I'll keep it like stop loss at like 0.01. Maybe if you're trading other instrument, you may have to adjust those things. So stop loss is done. And then similarly, target also. So I'm just simply going to copy and paste this value because more or less target by default, I'm going to use like 100. I'll change the label as target over here. Target. So far we had built only the risk management controls only. And of course, I also need to add the candlestick charts as well. So let me try to add the candlestick charts. I have a ready-made plot for this. So plot candles. This will plot the chart shows and arrows, and then it plots the candlestick charts. Obviously, I don't need a section begin and section end. So I'll try to remove that. So let's see what we had done. So I'm going to save this. I'll go to File, Save As. I'll go to Formulas. Inside the formulas, I'm going to say like Intraday Strategy webinar. Right? So I'm going to save this. Later on, I'll be sharing this AFL code as well. I'll say like Donchian Intraday Trading System. So if I open a new chart, so I'm going to see whatever we had built so far. I'm going to show you what we had done so far. I'm just going to click on simply apply. So we are getting a basic candlestick charts. That is what we are having. That is what we had built so far. And if I right click, if I go to the parameters, you could be seeing like a lot more options that we had built. So one is like length. I'll be able to change the length over here. I'll be able to change the time. So I'll be able to set like start time, end time, and minutes and seconds. I'll be able to control. Mostly in our case, hour and minute is more than enough. So I'll be able to control the signal end time, square of time, how many number of signals I want. So I can able to directly enter the value, or I can also go a little bit towards the right, and I'll be able to change it with the sliders as well. If at all the values has been changed a bit, I can always reset all and I can get it back to the default values. Change the tick size, enable or disable. So it's kind of a toggle mode. By default, it is in disable mode. By default, the stop loss and target is not applied. If you want, you just have to click on enable. You click enable, it will be enabled. If you click disable, it will disable. That is how we have to write the controls in the back end. And target stop loss mode, it is going to be a list. So if you click, you'll be having multiple options, point, percentage, and volatility. So in my case, by default, we're going to use points only, 50 points stop loss, 100 points target. That is what we're going to implement in this case. All right. So far what we had built is the simple controls is what we had built. So simple controls and then candlestick charts is what we had built. So a lot more things we are yet to implement. One by one, we'll solve it. Okay. So next one is like building the indicator. So we're going to build the simple Donchian channel. You know, right? The simple Donchian channel. There is also some more thing. So probably we have to add some more controls like since if at all I'm selecting a volatility controls, I need to add an ATR based stop loss also. In that case, I also have to get an input control like the ATR length and also the multiplier. So I'll keep multiplier. This is also part of the control here. Particularly for the volatility stop loss, we need this. So I'm going to say like param. Then I'm going to say like what? Volatility multiplier. Maybe that name could suit over here. Volatility multiplier, comma. And I'm going to say like 1.5 is the default value I'm going to give. And by default, I'm going to say like the starting value should be 0.25. Maybe the maximum value, it could be something like 20. with a step interval of 0.25. So that is how I'm going to keep the multiplier over here. Usually multiplier 1 or 2 or 3 is the maximum value people will use. So anyways, I given maximum control like something like 20. And then I'm going to use the ATR length. The ATR length, by default, ATR length, I'm going to give like probably something like 10. ATR 10 is what I'm going to use over here. ATR length. So the default value is going to be 10 and the minimum value is going to be 1. Maximum value is going to be 100. Step size is going to be 1. Right. So this is the list of controls we had built. I save it. I'm going to click on apply. I just go back and validate whether I'm able to get those controls or not. So all these controls are present now. Now we have to code everything one by one, right? So these are the basic things we need. What are the things we need? First, we have to list it down and then we have to write it as a control. Once we write it as a control, then focus on building your indicator. In our case, it's going to be a simple one only. So I'm going to say like a lower channel. So my lower channel of the Donchian channel is going to be very simple. It's going to be an higher high value, lower low value, LLV of low comma length of the channel. And likewise, the ATR is also we need to calculate, right? So obviously, we also have to calculate the ATR value also. So I'll say like the IATR. I'll just give a variable called IATR. Inside that, I'm going to calculate the ATR of ATR function, and then I'm put the ATR length, which we copied from here. So this will calculate the ATR. This calculates ATR mostly for volatility stop loss purpose. So I can also write a comment with a double slash. I can write a comment anywhere so that it makes the code readable. And then, so even after 1 month or 1 year or later also, you're coming and opening your code, you'll get to know why I'm implementing an ATR over here, right? And then the lower channel, then I'm also going to plot the upper channel as well. So upper equal to HHV of high comma length of the channel. So ultimately, I'm going to plot the channel as well. So before plotting the channel, right, when it comes to Donchian channel, the current value will be always fluctuating. And if I want to look for a breakout of the price from the Donchian channel, I always have to compare with my previous channel only. So in order to get the previous channel, what I'm doing is like, I'm going to give 1 bar delay to the channel. I'm going to say like upper equal to reference of upper comma -1 and lower equal to reference of lower comma -1. So this will give 1 bar delay so that mostly it is helpful for a breakout purpose. So refer the previous channel for breakout purpose. Because current channel will never break the candlestick charts will never break the current channel, but current price will be able to break the previous Donchian channel. So I'm just referring to the previous Donchian channel. So I'm rewriting the channel saying like, you consider the previous channel 1 bar back, how the channel looks like, that is going to be my Donchian channel. That is what I'm rewriting the Donchian channel over here. And ultimately, I'm going to plot the indicators. So that is what I'm going to do here. Let me plot the upper channel. Maybe I'll say like upper channel. And then the color I'm going to use like maybe color green is what I'm going to use for the upper channel. Yeah, maybe I will use color yellow instead. Color yellow could be a little bit darker. And style thick. I'm going to plot in a very thick line format. Same thing applies for the lower channel as well. Lower channel also, I'm going to plot in a yellow color only. So once we are done with that, next we also have to implement a trading logic as well. Obviously, we need to have a simple trading logic. So trading logic talks about when you want to take longs, when do you want to take shorts. So those kind of things, that is what we're going to talk about here. I'm going to say like buy equal to, the very simple thing is what I'm going to take over here. I'm going to say like when the price is crossing above the high of the candle, the high of the candle is crossing the upper channel, that is going to be my long entry. Buy means long entry and sell means long exit. So that is how Amibroker works. So it's a long entry and long exit is what I'm coding over here. And then I'm going to say like lower comma low of the channel. All right, we are done with that. Then I'm going to implement a short signal. So short is like a long, short entry, the cross of, so which is nothing but simple sell signal over here and then cover equal to buy signal over here. Right. So buy, sell, short and cover is what I had implemented over here. So buy means go long. This is my long entry, and this is going to be my long exit. And this is going to be my short entry. And this is going to be my short exit condition. So since it's a trading logic, obviously the end output is going to be either true or false. So whenever the crossover is happening, it will become like the value of the candle will be becoming true and the condition will become true and the buy will become valid. Whenever the sell condition is getting true, the sell condition will become valid over here. Rest all the time, it becomes false. False means it is not a valid entry condition or an exit condition. Okay, so thus far we are done with that. So sometimes what will also happen is like this will create multiple signals also. I'm going to show you that. So I'm also going to add signals as well. So I'm going to add an under the trading signals. I'm having an block to add a trading signals to add buy sell short cover signals. So that is what I'm going to add here. So it's a bunch of code, ready-made code, which I use more in most of my strategies. So this will generate buy sell arrows automatically. This is not going to change. Almost every strategy, I just simply copy and paste this template. All right. So far what we have done, a simple Donchen channel strategy only we had implemented, not an intraday strategy yet, but it's kind of a positional strategy. That is what we had implemented. Let's go back and see what it is doing. See, one thing, if you notice, it is creating a multiple entry signal, multiple short signals, but multiple long signal is also it is creating. So I need to remove those excessive signals. I want to retain only the first signal. Multiple consecutive short signal, I have to remove it. I want to retain only the first short entry only, I have to retain. So in that case, what I am going to do here is I'll quickly go back and then I'm going to do something called XREM. I'm going to remove excessive signals over here. So I'm going to say like buy equal to XREM of buy comma sell. So what I'm trying to do here is like I'm removing multiple buy signal until the sell signal happens. Likewise, I'm going to remove multiple sell signal until the buy signal happens. And that is what I'm trying to implement over here. Likewise, I also have to remove multiple short signal also. I'm going to say like XREM of short comma cover and cover signal equal to XREM of cover comma short. Right. And finally, if I save this, I go back to the strategy, you can see that multiple signals has been removed out and only the current signal only it is holding on to that. Maybe I'll use something like a 15-minute time frame, right? So you'll be able to see that multiple signals has been totally removed out and it retains only the one long entry, which is followed by a short entry. And the stars represents the exit signal, green star represents long exit, and the red color star represents the short exit. The arrow represents long entry, and the red arrow indicates short entry over here. All right, so now we are getting into the most important function, the risk control mechanism. So in this risk control mechanism, what we are going to do is like we're going to get the stop loss level. So far, we haven't built any stop loss target. We got only the stop loss target controls, but we're going to add the stop loss risk management controls over here. So I'm going to say like if the risk management is enabled, if not the risk control. So maybe if the risk control is not enabled, which means it's going to be a positional strategy. It could be a positional strategy. So this is more of a, I mean, without strategy, without stop loss and target. So this represents what? If the risk control is not enabled, then how my strategy should look like. Or if the risk management is enabled, then how my strategy is going to look like, which is what we're going to decide over here, because this is where we're going to tell at what price that we're going to enter. Right? So I'm going to say like set trade delays 0, 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to say like my entry price, which is going to be my buy price. So my buy price is going to be like max of open, comma value 1. Because sometimes, right, the price will not cross the downchain channel. So here, when the price is touching and crossing the downchain channel, it is going to be my entry. Sometimes price will not cross. Sometimes price will gap up. So the price will gap down and it will become a short signal. So in that case, your entry, you have to understand that if at all there is a gap up scenario is happening, your entry is not going to happen exactly at the downchain channel. Your entry is going to happen at the opening of the bar itself. So that is what we're going to factor in. So I'm factoring in at the opening of the bar, because sometimes price will not exactly cross. Sometimes price will jump with a gap up and gap down. In US markets, it will not happen. The gap up, gap downs are not possible, even in Forex markets also. But when it comes to Indian markets, since we have very limited time, every day, like 6.5 hours or 7.5 hours, the very next day, price opens and then gap up and gap downs are getting materialized. So we have to code the gap up and gap down situations also. So I'm going to say like max of open, comma value when buy signal is there, I'm going to take it as upper channel. Or if it is opening gap up, then gap up open is my entry point. That is what I'm saying over here. Sell price. When I'm going to, at what level, at what price I'm going to sell. So here I'm also going to factor that gap down condition. So I'm going to say like minimum of open or value when sell signal is there. By that time, what is the lower channel? That is going to be my entry point. That is what we are saying over here. And likewise, short price and cover price. So short price is nothing but minimum of open, comma value when short of the lower. And likewise, cover price is nothing but cover price. I'm just including the gap up scenario. So let me repeat again whatever we had built so far. So we built the intraday controls, right? Intraday trading controls, risk management controls, and the different types of stop loss mode, point based, percentage based, volatility based stop loss is what we're going to include stop loss and targets. And then for volatility stop loss, we're going to use volatility multiplier, and ATR based multiplier is what we're going to use 1.5 times of ATR as a stop loss, or maybe 2.5 times of ATR as a target. So we calculated the ATR, we calculated the downchain channel, we given 1 bar delay to the downchain channel, then we plotted the downchain channel, we derived the trading signals. So this signals, so far we haven't included the intraday controls yet, but soon we have to add that as well. And we also remove the excessive signals. And if there is no risk control, then obviously what is my entry price, exit price, what is my short price, cover price is what we're going to determine. So this buy sell is all about either true or false kind of logic. So when this condition is matching, whenever the buy signal is there, at what price you're going to enter? Some people, they will enter immediately. Some people, they will enter at a touch of a certain level. Some people, they wait for the next bar candle to close, then they will take an entry. So that is what all about execution logic. So this is mostly about execution logic. What price exactly you're going to enter when your buy signal is getting true? So that is what we had coded: buy price, sell price, short price, and cover price. And followed by that, I'm also going to say, if it is going to be a risk management is enabled, this is also mostly for backtesting purpose only. Nothing to do with the live trading, but mostly for backtesting purpose. Purely this entire block is for backtesting purpose only. Because live trading is all about sending orders to the brokers, right? But before that, you have to know whether your strategy is working correctly or not. So for backtesting purpose, you have to tell exactly what price that you're going to enter. So this is mostly for backtesting purpose only. So whenever you're building in Amibroker, you need to know whether whatever you're building, whether you can use it for live execution purpose or it is just only a backtesting purpose only. The set trade delays, buy price, sell price, short price, cover price. So these and all, it will inform the Amibroker at what rate you should take the entry price and exit price, right? Carefully how to do that. Otherwise, your backtesting report may go wrong. So try to ensure that you are trying to give your best when you're coding this kind of stuff. Otherwise, your backtesting report can mislead. Sometimes it can give super duper profits, but it may not be realistic, right? If this goes wrong, then everything goes wrong. And very difficult to look through that also. So now I'm going to initialize my stop loss and target levels. Initialize the stop and target levels. So as of now, I'm going to keep the stop loss as null. Null means not even zero value. I'm going to say like buy stop loss, we have to maintain separately. Buy target, we have to maintain separately. Buy target. And likewise, short stop and short target. So these are the 4 variables we are building for the purpose of calculating the stop loss levels. So I'm going to initialize as null. The target also going to be null. Null means if I try to plot null, right, I will not get any values over here. That is the reason why we are initializing, because then only I want to plot the stop loss and target only when the signals are running. Rest of the time, I don't want to plot anything at all. When the trade is over, why I should still plot my stop loss and target? So for that purpose, I'm just making that the value is null, so that only if the trade is running, it will show the stop loss and target. Rest of the time, it will not show anything at all. So for that purpose, I have to initialize to null value. So the next important thing is like if risk control is enabled, then how are we going to deal with that? So this is where the most important logic that we're going to write over here. So I'm going to say like if the risk control option is enabled, then we're going to write the logic for the risk control. So this is where we are also going to implement the time-based logic also. So I'm going to say like buy equal to my actual buy condition. I'm rewriting my buy condition over here, which is nothing but my existing buy. And along with that, I'm also include my time-based logic also. Now I'm going to say like time num, if the time of the candle, if it is greater than or equal to start time, and at the same time, the time num should be less than or equal to the end time. So consider buy only if my trading timing is between start time and end time. Otherwise, if any signal getting generated beyond this window, any signal coming before start time or any signal coming after end time, which is like after 2:30 p.m., just ignore it. That is the instruction that I'm giving over here. And followed by that, I'm not going to recode the sell signal directly, because still we have to code the stop loss, target and all. So I'm going to say like, I'm going to put a temporary sell signal over here. I call it as an I sell. You can see notice the difference over here. The buy is strong, dark black color, which is recognized by Amibroker. Whereas I sell is just a variable. So you can see the difference over here. So this is an actual buy. So this is a temporary variable which I'm allocating for the sell signal, because sell signal is not direct. Sell signal can happen when the target is going to hit or a stop loss is going to hit. Maybe if you are implementing trailing stop loss, a trailing stop loss also can hit. So multiple things are involved over here. So for time being, I'll say like I sell is what I'm going to give here. I'm going to say like my I sell is nothing but my existing sell signal, or my when the time num is reaching the square of mode is greater than or equal to SQ of time. Is it SQ of time, right? So just double click and then check. Automatically, it'll be highlighting there. You can see that it's getting highlighted. That means the variable you are using is right. Okay. So which is followed by that, what we are going to do here is like, I'm going to say buy equal to XREM. So we have to do the XREM over here, because it will once again, it will create multiple signals. Not on the buy side, but on the sell side, it will create multiple signals. So we have to do a simple XREM over here between buy and our temporary I sell. And likewise, I sell equal to XREM of sell, I sell comma buy, I sell comma buy. Right? And followed by that, so why we are doing this exercise is like, I need to get my entry price, because if I get the entry price, then only I'll be able to calculate my stop loss and target. So my buy price is going to be my entry price over here, which is nothing but value when buy comma max of open comma upper, open comma upper. So here also I'm including the gap up, gap down scenario also, even though it is not required, it's an intraday strategy. Still, I'm going to include that. This is not going to happen. A gap up scenario is not going to happen during intraday, but sometimes intra bar gap up, intra bar gap down do happen. So if at all to mitigate that situation, I'll try to code the gap up and gap down scenario also. So once I got the entry price, now it is time to code the actual stop loss and target. So I'm going to get, say, if my mode is going to be like points, the mode is equal to points, then my long stop loss and long target is what I need to calculate. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. So I'm opening an if block over here. I'm going to say my buy stop is equal to, you see that one thing you need to notice that the buy stop over here and this buy stop over here, they are not case sensitive. Of course, Amibroker variables are not case sensitive. You have to understand that. So you can use a mix of both are same only. Maybe it's a good coding practice. You maintain the same case itself. Even if you are not using the same case, it's not a big deal with Amibroker. Amibroker variables are not at all case sensitive. So means you can use a mix of capital letters and small letters, right? That is how it works. And buy stop loss equal to my entry price, which is nothing but my buy price minus stop loss. And my buy target is nothing but my buy price plus target. So here I'm able to calculate my stop loss and target levels. So this is with respect to the points. Maybe I want to have if mode equals percentage mode. If it is a percentage mode, then the formula differs for calculating the stop loss and target. If it is going to be a percentage mode, then my stop loss and target is going to be a little bit different. So the formula more or less goes like this, probably. Say if it's a percentage mode, what could be the formula here? So my buy stop is nothing but, let's say I'm just giving like 1% stop loss. So in that case, what will be my buy price? My buy price is buy price multiplied by 1 minus the buy stop divided by 100. Stop loss, if the value I'm getting in percentage terms, let's say 1% divided by 100, that is going to be my buy stop. And likewise, buy target is nothing but buy price multiplied by 1 plus target divided by 100. So this will be getting my percentage based stop loss and the percentage based target levels. And then followed by that, we're going to finally have the volatility stop loss. So if the mode is going to be like volatility stop loss, if the selection, what I'm going to do is like volatility, then my stop loss and target is going to be slightly different. It is going to be again a very simple only. So buy stop equal to, I'm going to say like value when buy signal is happening, I have to take my buy price minus IATR multiplied by the multiplier. So this IATR and multiplier are just the controls. IATR is nothing but the ATR based value, and multiplier is the control that we had selected externally. So this is like buy stop loss, and my buy target is nothing but the buy price plus IATR with a multiplier. That is going to be my buy target. All right, so finally, we are, whichever the mode I'm selecting, I'll be able to finally able to get my stop loss and target. So now we can code our sell signal. So my sell signal is now, it's going to be pretty simple and straightforward. My sell signal can happen an actual time-based sell, or maybe it can happen because of price hitting the buy target. So cross of high comma buy target over here. Or my exit can also happen because of a stop loss hit. So cross of buy stop, comma, low of the candle. And likewise, I'm going to say like once again, so my actual sell signal is over. So once again, I'm going to implement an XREM. So maybe the XREM, I can take it from the top so that we could save some time. So once again, we are doing an XREM between buy and sell. Usually, if at all there is multiple exits, if it is there, if in case, usually it not be, because we had done already some proper XREM. Even if in the worst case, if there is any multiple signals are getting generated, it will get removed out. And finally, sell price, like how we coded buy price, sell price also we have to code. Sell price is slightly different over here because sell signal can happen because of various reasons. So when when sell signal is there, I'm going to say like for what reason the sell signal happened. But if it is hitting the stop loss, then my exit price is different. If it is going to hit a target, my exit price is again going to be different. Or if it is breaking out the downchain channel on the lower side, again my exit signal is going to be different over here. So there are three different cases we have to consider while entering the exit price, because whatever that you're going to code, that the price only will be reflecting in your backtesting report. So this section is very, very important. Otherwise, if this is going to go wrong, your backtesting again will represent a wrong output. So carefully we have to handle it, since we are having multiple situations where an exit can happen. So I'm going to say like if the cross of my lower channel is going to get broken on the lower side, my low of the candle is breaking the lower levels, then my lower channel level is going to be my exit. Or if my uh, cross of high is breaking the, probably it can break the buy target. In that case, my buy target is going to be my exit condition. That is my exit price. So exactly at what is the buy target level? That level is going to be my exit point. Or it can happen like if the stop loss is going to hit. So if the cross of my buy stop low of the candle, then my buy stop is going to be my exit condition. Buy stop is actually going to be my exit condition. If nothing is there, then I'll consider close of the candle. So this condition will happen when automatically price is getting squared off. Because let's say when an open condition is getting left in the system, automatically it has to exit, right? So at what level it will exit? It will exit at the closing price of the candle. So the last condition, price will exit. This represents the square of time also it included, because an exit can happen, as I said, because of various reasons. It can happen when reverse signal is coming, it will exit. When target is hitting, an exit can happen. When a stop loss is hitting, an exit can happen. When a square of time is reached also, an exit can happen. So all these scenarios are considered properly so that your backtesting report will match with the reality to a very close extent. All right, so we coded the sell price over here. Likewise, we also do the same thing for the short condition also. So my short signal is going to be, I'm going to include the time-based condition. So far, we haven't included the time-based condition yet. My short signal is nothing but short followed by the time-based condition and the time num. So basically the time num is nothing but the one which we had coded at the top. So I'm going to say like, I'll go back up. I'm going to copy this. The same time-based condition only. I want to allow my shorts only between my start time and end time. That is what I want to implement over here. Followed by that, I'm going to say like I cover. So which is nothing but, I'm going to say like I cover is nothing but a temporary variable, because you know the reason why, because stop loss and target, we are not deciding yet. So we need to have a temporary I cover. So I'm going to say like cover or my time-based condition, so which is nothing but my square of time. So I'm going to take that square of time over here. Here it is. Okay, so short and cover is done. Now we're going to code the short price, because from that only we'll be able to get the stop loss and target levels. So first we need the entry price for the short, right? So which is nothing but value when the short signal is getting true. By the time the minimum of open comma lower levels. So here I'm also thinking about the short condition as well. So I'm including the gap down situation also for the short price. Whenever the signal is getting short, usually the touch of the lower Donchian channel is going to be my entry point. At the same time, if at all the price is opening gap down, I also have to consider the gap down situation also. So that has been taken care here. Followed by that, I'm going to do an XRM over here. So if you remember, I have to do an XRM between short and high cover. So I'll go back to save some time. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this. The only thing is like instead of cover, I'm going to make it like high cover. So at least it will save some time in coding. Just simply replace this quickly with high cover. Wherever cover is there, I'm going to replace with high cover. I'm just doing an XRM between short and the new high cover which we coded. And once again, we're going to do the same logic over here. I'm going to calculate if the mode is like point mode, percentage mode, volatility. So what I need to do here is like I also need to implement my stop loss and target controls. Not for the buy, but this time it's going to be the short stop loss and short target. So this formula is what I'm going to, the entire formula, I'm going to take it up. There's only a small change in the formula here. So it's instead of buy stop, I'm going to make it like short stop. Buy target, instead of that, I'm going to make it like short target. So let me quickly change it out. And short target. Formula also, we're going to change a little bit. So wherever there's a plus, I'm going to change it to minus. Because short stop loss will be on the higher side and target will be on the lower side. Same thing applies everywhere. So wherever there's a plus, I'm going to change it to minus. And wherever there's a minus, I'm going to change the sign to plus. So here also the same thing over here. So that the logic for calculation of the stop loss for the long is different, for the short is different. You have to understand that. So that is what we had done. So this block also we had more or less completed. And finally, we have to assemble our cover condition. Our cover condition happens because of this, right? So my cover signal is nothing but my temporary high cover, or a cover signal also can happen because of a stop loss hit or a target hit. So cross of high comma short stop, or cross of probably we can say like short target comma low. So cover signal has been coded. Once the cover signal has been coded, again we have to do one more round of XREM. So I have to go back and I'm going to get that coding format. So for safety purpose, because at times, as I said, right, it will create multiple short signal or multiple cover signal. To avoid that, I'm doing one more round of XREM here. And finally, here comes the cover price. So this is again the most important one, which we are telling to the backtester exactly what price you have to take when the stop loss is hit, or when the target is hit, when the short covering is taking place, or maybe we can say like when the square of time is reached. So all the condition we have to include over here as well. So I'm going to quickly say like value when cover, comma, I'm going to say like cross of, sorry, say like IF, if cover signal is happening because of cross of high comma upper, means when the upper signal is crossing, the reverse signal is happening, I have to exit my shorts. In that case, my upper level is going to be my exit price that is there, and which is followed by that. I'm also going to say like if, maybe I'm going to say like if it is going to hit the targets, if the price is crossing the short target, comma low of the candle. In that case, my exit price is nothing but the short target itself. And likewise, if the cross of, we can say like short stop loss. So cross of high comma short stop. In that case, my exit price is nothing but the short stop. If none of them is going to happen, then exit can happen because of the square of time is reached. So in that case, I'm going to use the closing price of the candle as my exit price. So obviously there are multiple parentheses has been opened. So we also have to close it accordingly. Of course, I think I forgot to do the same thing at the upper side as well. So here also I forgot to close everything properly. So how much ever parentheses that you are opening, same amount of parentheses, you have to ensure that you're closing those parentheses as well. Okay, so cover price is also done. Now it's time to limit the number of signals. So we're going to do what? Limit the number of signals. Limit number of intraday signals per day. That is what we're going to limit over here. So I'm going to say, like, for that, I have to identify whether new day has been started or not. I have to start counting the number of signals which is generating for the day. And if it is reaching beyond a certain threshold, then I have to remodify my signal. I should not allow those signals at all. Let's say I'm allowing only 3 entry signals per day. So if it is going beyond that, I have to arrest those signals. So I'm going to say like new day equal to day. If it is, there's a function called day. If it is not equal to reference of day comma -1. So this will generate a true signal whenever a new day is forming. If not, it will remain false. Then limit signal condition, which is going to be like, I'm going to say like I'm going to count the number of signals which is generating starting from the new day onwards. I want to count only the buy signal or short signal. I want to count only the entry signals only. Whenever an entry signal, either buy signal is happening or short signal is happening, I want to count. So for counting purpose, we are going to use a bar since function. So bar since acts like a counter whenever the new day is starting. And at the same time, the buy signal or short signal is going to happen. The signals will be counted, right? So new day or bar since new day +1. That's what we're going to do here. So if this condition, if it is less than or equal to number of signals, that is what the control that we returned, right? So new signal, number of signals. As long as it is less than number of signal, then the condition will be valid. So ideally, it's a true or false kind of statement. As long as this value is true, that means the number of signal threshold is not reached. The threshold what we keep by default is 3. So whenever the total number of entry signal is reaching more than 3, then we want to arrest the fresh condition. That means I have to recode my entry condition again. So which means I have to say like I have to remodify my entry signals, entry conditions only. So remodify entry and exit condition. I mean, only the exit condition is more than enough. Remodify exit conditions, which means my new buy signal is nothing but my current buy signal, and my limit signal condition also should be true. Means as long as signal count is not exceeding more than 3, it will allow the signals. When it is reaching beyond that, the entire thing will go false. So means it will not generate new signals at all after 3 entry conditions has been reached. So likewise, short signal also, short equal to short and limit signal condition over here. So thereby we'll be able to build the limiting the entry conditions also. Now, once we are done with that, at times again we may have to, it will again create multiple signals. So again, one more time we have to do a XREM. Again, we have to remove excessive signals over here. Remove excessive signals. Usually by default, it is not required, but in this case, it will create multiple entry and exit condition. So it's a good practice to remove it in a timely manner. So I'm just going to take this block and once again, I'm going to copy and paste that as well. So many places we may have to implement remove excessive signals periodically as long as your conditions is getting more and more complex. Sometimes you have to think about those logical scenarios as well, because let's say there are 2 entry condition has been, we are removing because the threshold has been reached. So the opposite sell signal will still remain. So to remove that, we are doing an XRM over here, right? And that is pretty much important. And we are also gonna, let's say I want to plot the signal only when the signal is running. So I have to check whether the signal is continuing or not. So whether my entry and exit signal condition check, entry and entry, long entry, or we can say like buy and short signal continuation check. So whether my buy signal is continuing or not, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna use like a variable called buy continue. My buy continue is nothing but flip off buy comma sell, and likewise short continue, which is nothing but flip off short comma cover. So this is an opposite of XRAM over here. So basically, it will try to print true values as long as the signal is keep on continuing over here, right? So more the signal is going to continue, better the chances like we'll be able to plot the stop loss and target as long as the signal is continuing. So buy continue and short continue is what we are implementing over here. So once we done with the implementation, we also have to color code the values as well. So I'm going to say like if buy signal is continuing, then I'm going to plot in color green. Otherwise, I want to plot in color red. Otherwise, color gray 40. So color equal to, I want to say like if buy signal is continuing, then I want color green. Otherwise, I want in, otherwise if it is short continue, then obviously color red. If none of them is happening, then I want to say like color gray 40. So color we had implemented over here. And obviously we also would like to, let's say I would like to plot an stop loss and target levels also. So I'm going to plot stop loss and target levels. Plot stop loss and target levels. So as I said, I want to plot the stop loss and target only if the signals are continuing. So I'm going to say like plot only if the buy continue is there. If the buy continue is true, as long as the buy signal is continuing or the sell signal is happening, only then I want to plot the buy stop. Otherwise, don't plot the stop signal at all. Otherwise, simply say null. So don't plot anything. That is what I'm just saying over here. And I'm going to plot the buy stops, which is I'm going to plot it in a color red. Color red. And not only that, I'm also going to make it like a, kind of a dashed line is what I'm going to use, style dashed. Style dashed with a thick line. So style thick as well. Same thing, I'm going to do the implementation for the buy target also. So buy target also, more or less, I'm going to use the same thing, buy target. So which I'll make it like target line, I'm going to make it like color green. So and then I'm going to plot what? I'm going to plot the short stop loss and short target. I want to plot only if the short signal is continuing. So I just replace the buy continue with the short continue. And I want to plot till cover signal. So that is what I'm going to do here. What I want to plot the short stop loss and short continue. Short stop and short continue. I mean, short stop and short target is what I want to plot over here. Maybe I prefer to plot in a different color. It's up to ones which what color they want. So in my case, I'll say like maybe short stop loss, I'll make like color brown. And instead of color green, I'll say like color lime. More or less similar color only. Small color variation is what I'm trying to apply here. So this will plot the stop loss levels. I think more or less we had reached the end of the session. I think, let's see. Now, if I save the code, there's a question from RR. His question is like, will I be sharing this AFL? Of course, once the session is over, I'll be uploading the AFL codes and also the recordings as well to the portal. You can, by logging into the portal, anytime you can access the recorded videos, and also you'll be able to download the recorded, the AFL codes as well. So both you'll be able to find in the portal. Let's check for errors. So there are a couple of errors to fix over here. Obviously, I'm missing an semicolon because when you're writing a lengthy code, right, often it might lead to an error. So let's fix it, save the code, again check for errors. There are one more error here. What are we missing? I think here also I'm missing an parenthesis. Save the code, check for errors again. Few more problems. I forget to close the if loop, IAF loop here. So since I copy pasted, it also reflected with multiple errors. I save it and then I click on the AFL. So the problem has been fixed. Now let's go and check. It's a short time now. Let's see is everything is proper. So right now we don't have any controls at all. But if I enable the risk management controls, if I go and enable the risk management controls, I'm getting an error. So where is the error? So we have to go and fix it out. If the stop loss and target is enabled, automatically I'm getting an error around, it's saying like short target used without having been initialized. Okay, let's check. So basically we need some little bit of troubleshooting over here. I'm going to pull up a very important window. Let's say a log window is what I'm going to bring, runtime error. So if there are any errors, which line it's throwing me an error, it'll be helping me out with that. So obviously these errors are already we fixed it. So now we are getting the error like short target used without having been initialized. Let's go and figure it out. So double click 165, line number 165, there has been an error. It's short target, right? So that's a simple thing. So now it is fixed, hopefully. So now it's saying like missing arguments, line number 206, it is getting an error. So line number 206, what issue that we are getting over here? Okay, so the parenthesis has to be over here. That's another, my silly mistake. We save it. So hopefully this should fix every errors over here. Now you can see that now it's not generating any errors at all. That means it's totally clear. So I can close this window. So now I'll be able to see the risk management controls as well. So stop loss target. Obviously, the stop loss and target is pretty far. Maybe I'll try to use something like a Nifty chart where you'll be able to see some reasonable stop loss and target levels. Maybe something like a 5-minute time frame, a 5-minute. So you'll be able to see the stop loss control, target controls. Though whenever that square of time is reached, it is exiting properly. Whenever the target is reached, it is exiting properly over here, right? Let's try with various conditions, whether the code is working properly or not, stop loss and target is getting plotted properly or not. Try to validate from that angle. So maybe try to change the stop loss target level, maybe try to keep a bigger targets, check whether the target is hit or not. So you can see that in this case, the target is running till, as long as the target is getting hit, it is getting exited properly. Try to check whether stop loss getting hit or not. So try to check you with a smaller stop loss. Try to get very closer over here. Sometimes if the stop loss is getting hit, then you'll be able to understand that stop loss is hit or not. So those kind of things you have to practice over here, right? So obviously, the stop loss is also getting hit in this case. You can see the stop loss is getting hit and is giving an exit over here. So stop loss is working, target is working over here, right? And how about the number of signals which is getting generated per day? So let's say like, so here hardly one signal is what getting generated. So here two signals are getting generated. Let's say I'll change the number of signals to something like one. It should generate only one signal, right? Or maybe I think it is one entry signal and one exit signal, I think. No, I think it's supposed to be one entry signal and one exit signal only. Am I missing anything with the number of signals here? Let's go and check it out. That's the final thing that we have to check. Number of signals. So ultimately, after coding everything, we are including the limit signal condition. In that limit signal condition, we are saying like if sum of buy or short bar since number of signals, if it is less than or equal to number of signals. Is it? So there is a small mistake is what I'm making over here. What is that mistake? It's a simple, silly mistake. This +1 has to go outside. The reason is like the first signal, if it is counting, it will be counting like 0. So what I want to do is like, I want to add a +1 to that. So maybe now you can see that if I'm keeping like number of signal as like 2, it should display 2 signals per day. You see that? If I'm saying like this is like the first signal and this is going to be the second signal. If I'm going to say like only 1 signal per day, it should generate only 1 signal per day. That means that problem is also getting fixed over here, right? So now the code is completely proper code. It has a proper backtesting rules. It is having a proper controls. You can also change the controls. You can say like, I want to have a volatility based stop loss automatically, dynamic stop loss based upon your volatility settings automatically comes with that. That is working. Stop loss target is working. Entry exit rules are working. Downchain channel is proper. Breakout signals are proper. Limiting the number of trades per day, that is also proper. So entry exit condition is happening properly. Square of time is getting properly getting executed. So means overall everything is so far implemented properly. And once the trade is completed, you can see that once the trade is completed, automatically it is not plotting the stop loss and target. That is also fixed over here. All right. So I guess this explains how to build a simple intraday trading system with stop loss, target controls, and also intraday controls. And you also have a control. If in case if you don't want to have a stop loss and target, you can simply disable it so that it becomes a positional strategy. If you want intraday strategy with intraday control, you just simply enable it. So that brings the control as well. All right. So I guess this provides a simplistic approach towards building a simple target, stop loss, and intraday controls. So maybe in yet another session, we'll try to bring more interesting learnings towards Amibroker AFL. So see you in the next session. Thank you.